So we're recording this. This presentation will be posted on our website at ayso300.org/AYSO101. All right, so thanks everyone again for attending. Appreciate your time. I hope this will be productive for you. I'm going to jump right into the presentation. And right now you should see a slide saying AYSO 101. All right, so my name is Drew McElligott. I'm Regional Commissioner, outgoing Regional Commissioner, and we have an incoming Regional Commissioner taking over, Derek Jansen. He may join us on this Zoom later, he may not, we'll see. I've been Regional Commissioner for now 6 years. I've been with the organization for 15 to 20 years since my kids, who are now in college, were playing soccer. And I will remain helping this organization because I just care so much about it and care about kids playing soccer and hopefully loving soccer. As I said, this is being recorded. And just a little bit about what we're going to go over tonight. And this is where you can find me at rc@ayso300.org. And let's dive right in. Who we are, first, I just want to, you'll see at the bottom of every screen is our 6 philosophies. And that's as much about who we are as an organization as anything else. These 6 philosophies are values, a value system that we ideally are asking every parent to embrace, to exhibit as a coach, as a spectator, as a referee, that's the ideal. Is AYSO necessarily for everyone? Maybe someone else's 6 philosophies includes winning at all costs. If that's one of your values, then this is probably not, this may not be the right organization for you. AYSO, American Youth Soccer Organization, but AYSO also stands for All Your Saturdays Occupied. And in this particular season, one Sunday. By the way, before I go any further, if anyone sees any technical difficulties, please make sure you speak up. Who we are is also a national organization that's nearly 60 years old nationally. In the community, we've been here for 41 years, and we are one of the largest AYSO regions in the country. We are probably one of the largest youth sports organizations in the entire Midwest, probably. And we are definitely one of, if not the largest youth sports organization in Chicagoland. We have anywhere between 27 to 2,900 players per year registered, of obviously a mix of ages. That's roughly, give or take, 1,800 families each year. And certainly many repeat families with many siblings playing with us. This year we have, I want to say we added 10 more teams in the spring. We have something north of 240 teams, I believe, total. That's from our 4-year-old U5 division all the way up to our high school division, which is co-ed. And who we are is our mission to develop and deliver quality youth soccer programs that promote a fun family environment built on the foundation of our 6 philosophies. If anyone thinks all this sounds hokey, well, that's okay with us. We know it's, generally speaking, we're not perfect, but these are the ingredients that make us tick, that for the most part create a positive soccer experience and youth sports experience for our families, kids, and community. Again, who we are is our 6 philosophies. Everyone plays, balanced teams, open registration, positive coaching, good sportsmanship, player development. And there's more information about each of those philosophies at ayso300.org/core in terms of what those really mean. We're going to briefly go over that right now. And it is important to us that our parents know what these things mean. And so everyone plays, as an example, means that every player is going to play at least half of every game. We may strive as coaches, as an organization, for quote unquote equal playing time, but the mandate is that every player plays at least half of every game. And generally speaking, all of our decisions that we make, with some exception, are kind of informed and dictated ultimately by, they have a connection to the 6 philosophies. And as an example, we have roster limits in each division, different max number of players per roster, depending on which division a child is registered for. And the reason we have those roster limits is for everyone plays, ensuring that it's not going to be too cumbersome for a coach to be able to play each of their players 50% at least of every game. Obviously, if kids have tantrums, if they're sick, if they show up at halftime or at fourth quarter, that's going to be changing a little bit. But bottom line is everyone plays is a key component, not just to the playing experience, but also the ability for everyone's child to, so long as they enjoy the sport, to get better at it, to improve, to develop their skills and comfort playing soccer. That's only going to happen if they obviously get out on the field, get playing time, and get touches on the soccer ball. Balanced teams, we do our best. It's certainly not an exact science or precise science, but we do make efforts to build balanced teams each year. We do this in large part, primarily with player ratings that coaches complete at the end of each season. And when we're building teams, it is not by school, it is not by community or neighborhood or town. Our priority for building teams is balanced teams. We do have, prior to the fall, when we first create our teams, the fall is the start of our soccer year. And we are taking some buddy requests for one player or another player. We have a 3 volunteer policy that allows 3 parents and their kids to be on the same team together, so long as one of the parents is volunteering as a role of head coach, one parent's volunteering as assistant coach, and one parent is volunteering as a referee. In those cases, we will build teams with those 3 families together. And then we also do our best for registrations that are on time and not late registrations. We do our best to make sure that a player has at least one teammate on their team from the same school. But at the end of the day, we want balanced teams. Why? Because that's what creates a fun, competitive match experience. We want our kids to want to come back for more the following week, whether it's practices or games. And when it comes to the games, the matches over the weekend, they're going to be most fun if they're balanced, competitive. Doesn't have to be a tie, but we don't want blowouts. Blowouts are what turn kids off of any sport. And so that's what balanced teams is all about. Open registration, you don't have to live in any particular town to play in our region. We have at least one family as far as Lamont, because they have cousins in our area, in our backyard, and they like to get together with cousins, play soccer on weekends, on Saturdays. You don't have to try out to join AYSO, and that's what open registration is all about. Positive coaching, just encouraging, being positive, instructive, and encouraging as a volunteer coach. That's what we ask all of our coaches to be. But as spectators, ideally, we're positive coaches as well. And then that ties into good sportsmanship. As a spectator, as a coach, as a referee, as a player, are we treating each other respectfully? Are we treating our volunteers respectfully? Are we, understanding that it's not only about, yes, it's competition, yes, it's sport, so there is winning and losing, but is it only about winning and losing? No, it's not. Trying to keep things safe, fun, and fair. And as parents, we're the models for ensuring that kind of environment and atmosphere for our kids. Player development, as coaches, but also as a league, we have various ways in which we focus on player development. We have professional coaches. We call them extra or united coaches. These are the only paid people within our organization. I'm not paid. None of our board is paid. The only paid individuals in our organization are our united coaches. They are professional, they're talented, they're international, very diverse in terms of where they are from. And they run not only what we call extra teams, which we'll talk about in a little bit later, our united teams, but they also run our playground sessions for our 3 and 4 year olds. And finally, they run player clinics Monday through Thursday, every week of the season. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But the reason why we run those clinics is, simply put, player development. Also, who we are is, as I mentioned, we're all volunteer. We are only paid in smiles, kids' smiles. That's who we are. That means we rely on each other and sort of the AYSO volunteer team to get everything done, whether that be fields, moving goals into place, helping build teams as division coordinators. The list goes on and on and on in terms of how we as an organization, as big as we are, really rely on so many volunteers. And we always need more. There's never, frankly, never enough. So whether it's getting involved more on our board, or coaching or refereeing, which is a huge need for our league, we are extremely reliant on volunteers. And that's what is going to make this equality program an organization, and hopefully continue as a quality organization, is the quality of the quality and the participation of our volunteers. These are each of our soccer programs, which we're going to get into a little bit. Most of you are most likely a part of our, what we call our core program. Many of you may also be playground soccer parents. We'll get into a little more detail about this in a second. First, in terms of where we play, we have practices, games, clinics, playground soccer in one of 4 different park district areas: Western Springs Park District, LaGrange Park District, LaGrange Park, Brookfield, and technically I guess it's 5 with Countryside, but LaGrange Park District oversees Countryside. So this map is where we play, and it's pretty broad geography. And we rely on every single one of these fields. With the size that we are, there's never enough field space. And frankly, there's never enough good condition field space. There's a lot of turf out there that needs improvement. Where and what is SRP? We have a couple of different base of operations as an organization. And probably the main one is Spring Rock Park. If you see the red circle on the screen, that's what we affectionately call the shed. It is Western Springs Park District property, but they allow us to utilize it, not exclusively, but a large portion of it for some of our storage area. And also we have events there and pickups for field equipment, for coach equipment, for uniforms, for our shoe exchange. So this Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a shoe exchange, which doesn't mean you have to necessarily have a pair of shoes that you're donating. But if you are looking for an opportunity to get some lightly used soccer cleats, we will have them there. We only have soccer shoes, and we only have so much of an inventory, but hopefully we'll get some donations on Saturday, which means we'll have more on Sunday. But if you look at our public website calendar at ayso300.org, if you go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/ayso300, and go to the events section, you will see, or if you read the email I sent earlier tonight or today, you'll see the schedule for the shoe exchange, which is, I believe it's Saturday 10 to 12, and Sunday 12 to 2. Hopefully I didn't mess that up. So events like that, different volunteer pickup to volunteer needs are often happening at the shed in Western Springs. So also who we are as far as leadership is our board. And I believe Derek Jansen has just joined us a little while ago. So he is, again, the incoming regional commissioner. I'm the outgoing regional commissioner. Derek, are you there?
I am.
Okay, great. So make sure all the hard questions go to him at the end of this Zoom, okay?
Fair enough.
All right, cool. So we do have a board. The nice thing about it, the size and scale that we have is that we have a lot of volunteers that are helping out at the leadership level. That's a great thing. But frankly, also because of size and scale, it's still never enough. We always can use more help at the board level. And if you go to ayso300.org/board, I know I'm throwing a lot of URLs at you guys tonight, but you will see some of the open positions. There may be some updates that we still need to make on the website, but for the most part, that's up to date as far as what board vacancies or openings that we have. We meet these days, thankfully, in person at Irish Times typically. Our next meeting's Monday, May 15th at 7:30 p.m. So all are welcome, even if you just want to check it out, even if you want to tell the board something, there's certainly public comments at the start. And just if you want to know what's going on, we'd love to have you. So in addition to the more formal open board positions that we have, periodically we could use a good graphic designer, because God knows I'm not one, but I try. So there's a lot of, additional help that we can use certain times of the year, especially. We've got in mid-May, we'll have registration opening for our next soccer year, which is, fall 2023 and spring 2024. That's our next soccer year. We're currently on the back end of our soccer year in spring 2023. Hopefully that makes sense. And so for registration, ideally, we have someone putting together some leaflets, some flyers, some handouts, what have you. And hopefully not simply relying on me and Canva. So that's just one example of others where perhaps some of our parents' professional experience and expertise could come to use for us beyond just some of the board positions. At the end of the day, it's all about the kids. And between whether you're a coach or a referee or simply a parent on the sideline, we all need to be adults in the room. It's one thing to adopt and exhibit the 6 philosophies at the bottom of this page, but there's also, we would like to think, sort of common sense parenting and adulting. And oftentimes, anytime a conflict arises at the field, thankfully it doesn't happen too much, but that's where I tend to be most judgmental. I'm usually not, but if we can't adult, then there's not a lot of tolerance, I guess I'm trying to say, if we're not adulting. You can Google what adulting means. I'm not sure what it means. It's just common sense. And a huge part of it is just focusing on what's important in every AYSO activity, and that's the kids. That's it. So keeping things safe, fun, and fair, and focusing on our philosophies, we'll do all right. It's when we're veering off of that path, that's where we may have some issues. Just like the kids on the field, we want them to work together. We want them to help each other. We want them to support each other, protect each other, do their best, have fun doing it. That's the exact same message I want to bring to you as parents and to our board. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy watching our kids play. Let the kids play, but let's enjoy watching and letting the kids play. I can't think of a better and more important message in terms of being a part of AYSO. All right, so for this season, I just want to make sure we're on the same page, and obviously you'll let me know if we're not at the end of this, if you have any questions. But we have assigned to either teams or playground soccer sessions roughly 300 new kids that are new registrations. That was a lot of work. We're doing it we're adding kids to existing teams from the fall and existing playground sessions from the fall. So we're trying to figure out, okay, is everyone coming back in the spring? Do we have openings? What teams do we have openings? We can't do the same sort of buddy request and typically the 3 volunteer policy because we already have teams set up from last fall. So we're very limited in what we can do and where we can assign players based on where there's room. As I said before, we have max limits on team roster for every division. We also have max limits on the playground sessions. We don't want it to be a weaker experience for the kids because we have too many kids to overwhelm our united coaches. So hopefully that makes sense. So we did assign every one of our waitlist players, which is great. We did that in March and leading up to April. And so you as a parent, if you have a registered player, you should know unless you registered today, yesterday, maybe a few days ago with some exceptions, but you should know what team your child is on and what playground soccer session you're on. We are gonna send out confirmations this week for playground soccer sessions, just to make sure folks know, just confirming, sort of triple checking to tell you which session you're in or your child is in, and give you a few details and guidance on what to wear, where to show up at the field, things like that. So that's for playground soccer sessions. For U5 and older kids, that's pre-K, kindergarten and above, at this point, we kind of rely on the coaches parent volunteer coaches to bring you up to speed, to inform you where and when practices if you're a U7 and older team. That's first graders and older. If you're U5 and U6, your first official AYSO activity is going to be on Saturday, April 22nd. That's our opening day. And so on that day, you'll start, if you look at your schedule, the game schedule, the start time for U5, U6 is actually the start time for your team's 30-minute practice session. And that will be immediately followed by a 24-minute game or match versus an opposing team. And that'll be broken up into 4 quarters, so 4 6-minute quarters. And it's broken up into quarters because at each quarter break, we are the coach should be substituting players. And why? Because everyone plays. So the coach is making sure in each quarter break, they're setting the stage so that everyone gets at least, if not more, 2 quarters of the match. All right, practice schedules. If you're U7 and older, your coach should be, if they haven't already, they should be contacting you very soon to let you know when your team's recurring practice, weekly practice, day, time, and field location is. In most every case, our coaches are running 1 practice. These are volunteer parents running 1 practice a week. Some coaches have in the past done 2 practices a week, although that is rare. And just to set expectations, any of the Catholic schools, I believe all of them have spring break this week. So Easter comes a little late this year, and for that reason, it is possible you'll have a coach that's in Florida somewhere on vacation. And it's also possible that you have a coach that has sent you an email. If you haven't received it, it could be in spam. If you have any concerns at all that you haven't heard from your coach, don't hesitate. Feel free to reach out to me. And we don't mind pinging the coach and just making sure, because sometimes things do happen. Sometimes there are reasons why it's either gone to spam or perhaps they're not on your list. I won't get into the detail, but bottom line is every U7 and older team should be holding their first practice beginning at the very least next week. Some teams have been out this week already and will be out this week. But if you're not having practice this week, that's not a cardinal sin because of everyone's schedule and because of the spring break. So, but next week for sure. And then of course that leads into our opening day games. And the game schedule went out today. It was posted publicly today. Thanks for your patience if you're waiting on that. And so there are two ways, as if you read my email earlier today, which also could have gone to your spam. There are two ways to view your game schedule: AYSO300.org schedule or log in to our team website, which is AYSO300team.org. We try to, in addition to just having soccer fun over the course of the season, we do try to, schedule different events where we can, and frankly, leverage our scale and size with different soccer groups, professional soccer groups, I should say. And so, for example, last spring, every spring we end with our family picnic at Spring Rock Park. This year, that will be on June 10th. And so that's our final game day. We're trying to go out with a bang with our picnic. It's totally free if you're a registered family. We'll have food, water, soda. We will have some fun bouncy houses, some other types of fun. And this past spring, last year, with our relationship with Chicago Fire, which is professional men's soccer team in Chicago, we were able to get 2 players out to sign autographs, and that was a huge deal. We won't be able to do that this year, by the way, because they've got a game scheduled on June 10th, unfortunately. But we'll see what else we can come up with. And that's really what we're all about, is soccer fun. How can we enhance within our budget, within our, what we can afford? How can we enhance the experience? It's always fun to show soccer kids what professional soccer looks like. And so for that reason, we try to tie into Chicago Fire matches, Chicago Red Stars matches, which is Chicago's women's professional team. And especially with the World Cup coming up for US women, we really wanted to do a Red Stars event. And so on May 7th, I don't have it here, sorry, the slide, but if you go to ayso300.org/special events, you'll see a write-up details about on May 7th, a Red Stars event that we're doing. Kids who are, so long as they're registered with AYSO 300, our kids will be playing inside the stadium on the turf in SeatGeek Stadium that's in Bridgeview. It's really not that far away from here, and it's a great experience. And so again, that's May 7th. We totally sold out the first purchase, or I'm sorry, the first batch of tickets that were given to us by the Red Stars to sell at they're discounted tickets. They're not free, but we sold those out and they gave us a new batch. So it's not too late to sign up. If you want your kid to play on the turf at halftime, we will need you to buy a ticket. But we hope you can enjoy it and join us. And if not this time, hopefully the next event.
And Drew, I'll just add to that. I think we're going to arrange a little mini tailgate for everyone to meet up as well too. So great opportunity to meet other AYSO families.
Awesome. That's the best part of that, is that you're the one running it. That's great.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks for dropping that in. And again, it's a lot of fun. And it's a great way to meet some fellow AYSO players, families, neighbors that maybe you never even knew were next door from you. So it's a great experience. All right, let's talk about during the season, both during the week for U7 and older teams and practices, and also on Saturdays. And then we have that one Sunday game day this year, which is Sunday, June 4th. Weather to play, considering what the weather may be. Our public website is ayso300.org. And on that homepage, is where we will update any sort of field status updates that we have to make. As I said earlier, we play in multiple park districts. These are not our fields, but their fields. We also play on some school district fields as well. There are certain park districts that will dictate, that will tell us fields are closed because of field conditions or weather conditions. Keep in mind, if the weather outside is like today, beautiful weather, but if it was raining for like a whole week straight leading up to that beautiful day, the fields are still going to be swampy. There will still be standing water. Some fields are worse than others. But the bottom line is, unfortunately, there are those days where we'll have perfect weather, but the fields are just not in good shape because of the days leading up to that. So there are going to be occasions, potentially, where the park districts will tell us that fields are closed, whether it's during the week when we have teams that want to practice, or over the weekend when we have scheduled games. So again, we will, on Saturdays and that one Sunday morning, we'll update the website if we have any field closures to report on. We'll do that by 7:30 in the morning. All games start, or games start as early as 8:15. So that's our very narrow window. We have volunteers that are also going out to fields on Saturday mornings and checking out certain fields to determine if they're playable or not. And at some point, we have to make a judgment call. There's absolutely no soccer that should be played. No kids should be out in the fields if there's any sign of lightning or thunder. And a lot of this detail, if you go to the schedule page, ayso300.org schedule, you will see a little more detail like this about different instances of weather-related cancellations. If we're not canceling by 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday, it's ultimately up to the coaches and referees to determine if they need to cancel or not. And we want them to cancel if it's unsafe. We don't want them to cancel if it's just raining, because we only have 8 weeks of a season, and we want the kids to play. So that's the official statement on weather. And obviously, if you all have any questions about it down the road, you can let us know. We do have, for every division, we have division guidelines. And these are league policy. They're not guidelines in the sense of suggestions. These are league policy. And just one common question we get from new parents is about ball size. And so this is where you would see which ball size for each division. And I'll just tell you right now, for U5 through U8, it's a size 3 ball. If you're a playground parent, you don't need to bring a ball. But if you are, because we'll have mini soccer balls there, but if you are a U5 or older parent, we would like your child to bring a soccer ball to their AYSO activity. It's good encouragement to them to have some license and some ownership of a soccer ball. It's great for player development for that reason, and just having some fun with soccer. But also the coach has some equipment, some soccer balls. They could always use more for the different activities that they do for practices. And the division guidelines have some variation as far as rules of play. Feel free to check it out. Again, it's ayso300.org/guidelines. Some rules are universal and universal. And so, for example, no shin guards, or I'm sorry, players must wear shin guards during all AYSO activities. Playground is the only exception. In playground, you don't need shin guards, you don't need soccer cleats, you don't need to bring a soccer ball. But for every other division, shin guards are required. Soccer cleats are absolutely recommended, but not required. And no jewelry is allowed. If you're considering, if you have a daughter and you're considering earrings or piercing ears, please, we'd ask you, we know it's your life and your child and her ears, but we would ask you to hold off on that until after the season. The reason is earrings is included as far as the no jewelry policy. It is considered a safety issue. And if it's starter earrings, we are not going to, we won't allow, the referees won't allow just Band-Aids on top of the earrings. They will likely ask your child to take her earrings out, and then it becomes a very unpleasant experience if they're starter earrings because they're not supposed to come out. So that's, if anyone has any questions after that, we can handle that. Again, I mentioned our U5, U6 game format, the 30-minute practice, the 24-minute game. We'll talk about uniforms towards the end of this, but we do provide a new jersey, new shorts, new pair of shorts, and new pair of socks. The one thing I'll just add for our U5, U6 parents, if your coach is compromising on the 30-minute practice, I'd ask that you respectfully, no one wants conflict, but respectfully bring up to the coach that they're supposed to be practicing for 30 minutes. On occasion, a coach may try to jump to the match, to the game, but that really defeats the purpose. If you see, player development is one of the 6 philosophies at the bottom of the screen, and we're not going to get very far in terms of player development if all we're doing is playing games and matches. So it should be a full, fun 30-minute practice at the start of your Saturday, and then followed by the 24-minute game. In terms of uniforms, we do have a uniform coordinator. Uniforms at ayso300.org is his email address. If you have any questions about uniforms, feel free to reach out to him. We are going to have, hopefully you saw an email if you're a parent of a new registration for the spring. We're asking parents to come to the Spring Rock Park shed and pick up your player's uniform. We will have an assortment of different shorts sizes on site, and you can choose from what you think is most appropriate for your child. The jerseys, there's less flexibility there in terms of sizes. We kind of have what we have for each individual team, but we'll do the best we can to provide you one that works best for your child. But the pickup for uniforms is this Saturday, anytime between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. And on Sunday, that's April 16th, anytime between 12 and 3 p.m. You can come by the shed to get your child's uniform. 2 caveats to that. One, feel free to interrupt me if I got those times wrong, if you're looking at something else, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And then the second thing is we do have 10 new teams that were built for the spring. If your child is on one of those teams, then we're actually giving the uniforms to the head coach and not handing out to individual parents. So that would be G5 20 through 20, let's see, 20 through 20, I'm sorry, 21 through 26. Those are team numbers, G5 21 through 26, G6 21, 22, and B6, I think 27, 28. If those are any of your team numbers for your kids, then we're actually, please don't go to Spring Rock Park. We're giving a box of uniforms for your entire team to your head coach. And sorry if that's confusing. Shin guards, just as a practical matter, they're to be worn below the socks, underneath the socks. So the left version, that's my daughter who's now a freshman in high school. It's a little crazy, but the left version is incorrect. The shin guards should go underneath the socks. And more about safety. Again, I kind of touched on this already. We don't want football cleats or softball cleats for safety reasons. They must be soccer cleats if worn at all. And goal safety is a big concern. It's a lesser concern than it was a few years ago because for our U5, U6 teams, all of those matches were using collapsible goals these days. and they take a little bit of time to put up and take down. But at the end of the day, the reason we have them is kids can't hang on those goals. The safety issue being you hang on them, they can tip over. Obviously, severe weather, we want to put safety first. If you see a game going on and there's a sign of lightning or thunder, and both coaches and the referees seem to be acting like it's no big deal, let's be the adult in the room. Still be respectful, good sportsmanship and all that, but someone needs to say something in that moment and get the kids off of the field. So don't be bashful in those situations. Please handle it the right way, respectfully. But if the game's going on and there's thunder going on, then someone needs to be the adult in the room and suspend play. And then concussions, if we see a collision, again, whether we're a coach, a referee, a parent, spectator, and there's an injury and it's a head injury, we have more specific, detailed instructions and guidance on concussion protocol. Please check that out, ayso300.org/safety, and you'll see some information on that. We want to make sure our coaches and referees are aware of this too, but in case, again, same thing. If no one's treating a head injury with the right importance, then someone needs to step in. Okay. All right. Real quick, core program, that's our pre-K through high school age kids, as old as 18-year-olds play AYSO. We also have what we call extra teams that begins at second grade and up, and it's an opportunity for kids to be on a second team in addition to their parent coached core team. The extra teams play what we call in-house, which is they're playing against each other. They are professionally coached by our United coaches. They get additional practice during the week in addition to their core practice, and a second game in addition to their core game. Again, this starts at second grade, and we will make announcements later this month about player assessments for kids who are going to be in second grade next year, if they want to be a part of an extra team. There is an additional cost involved, but we try to keep the cost down as much as possible in many different ways. United program is what we basically would call our travel program. We have many United travel teams. Some of the players on those teams also play in core. Some only play United. If you're on an extra team, you do have to play on a core team as well. That's not optional. But once you are at fifth grade or above and you try out and make a United team, you don't have to play on a core team at the same time. Our United coaches coach all of those teams in addition to playground soccer, in addition to our player clinics. We'll have our clinic schedule up hopefully by the end of this week, as soon as possible. And those clinics should be starting as soon as next Monday. These are free clinics, free in the sense that you've already paid for them as part of your registration at, by the way, a very good value if you utilize those clinics. And they're unlimited. Come Monday, come Tuesday, come Wednesday, comes Thursday if you like. If you can't make your core team's practice because you have other activities that are in conflict with that practice, you have 3 other days of the week to go to these clinics that are professionally coached. And as much as guys like Derek and I think we're good coaches, it ain't the same thing. Trust me. These are very talented coaches, and it's all about improving and having fun, improving your skills as a soccer player. Another program we run is AYSO VIP. This is a program for players with special mental and physical needs. And we work in partnership with Lyons Township High School and their soccer players on their varsity boys and girls teams. They volunteer and help as player buddies with our players. They play every Saturday at 3:30 at Northeast Park. Playground, many of you may be familiar with playground soccer, trying to keep it fun, keep it as a great introduction to soccer, but also focusing on fundamental motor skills for our little guys and girls. All right, so, and then this is just a quick overview from a player development perspective of the different options and opportunities that families and your kids have in terms of if they choose to play more soccer beyond just core AYSO. We do offer winter programs. We're kind of limited sometimes because we just don't have enough facility space at times, but we do run indoor programs for nearly all ages. We also run camps during the summer, spring break, different holidays like Thanksgiving week. So these are all for the purpose of offering more player development opportunities and soccer fun opportunities run by our, except for core, run by our professional United coaches. So this season, I believe we have 11 total professional coaches. We have, we're always grateful to have more women coaches because that's not as common, frankly. And so we have 2 women coaches, Coach Kelly and I believe Coach Mariana. And all of our coaches are from different countries, many South American coaches, many European coaches, all with wonderful accents, wonderful approaches to the game. And frankly, they're all phenomenal players as well. And many of them had dreams of playing professionally. Tonight, right now, as we speak, Coach Alejandro, who is our, if for lack of a better way to put it, our head coach this season, he is playing in a semi-pro game. If his team wins, they're going to actually play a friendly match with the Chicago Fire. So our professional coaches, they work hard for us. They help us with the fields at times. Their focus is your kids, but they're still enjoying the game of soccer themselves as well. Not just coaching, but playing. If you do have any questions about these other programs, Playground at AYSO300.org for Playground, Extra at AYSO300.org for extra teams, United AYSO300.org if you're interested in our United teams that starts at 5th grade and up. We will be posting soon, hopefully, our tryout schedule for United for next fall. And then lastly, I just want to mention, as far as United goes, one way I mentioned keeping costs down, one way we're able to keep costs down relative to other soccer programs is we have families, AYSO families hosting some of our professional coaches. And so if you have a spare room, if you'd be interested in having a one-on-one soccer tutor in your household for your kids, these are wonderful, we've been very fortunate, wonderful young men and women. It can be fun, very fun having them around, so long as you have room in your house. So we may or may not have needs right now. To be honest, I'm not positive, but there's a good chance we'll have needs down the road during the season. So if you have any interest in hosting one of our coaches, please shoot an email to united@ayso300.org.
Drew, I'll just add to that. We've hosted coaches as well in the past. It's been some of the best experiences that we've had. So if you have any questions at all about hosting, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Currently, my email is the uniform email, but I'm sure you can find me if you reach out to Drew as well.
Great. And we are wrapping this up just for those of you, I know we got a late start. So here again is our United team and kits, VIP, ayso300.org/VIP if interested in that. And then as I mentioned, our camps, ayso300.org/camps. We do currently have our summer camp schedule open for registration. Those are run by our United coaches. So you can sign up, you can check out the details of the schedule. You know, some of these additional programs like the camps, they are at an additional cost. But you know, we try to make them as valuable as possible for our families. All right, as we wrap things up, and get to Q&A, I just want to remind folks, the team website, there's a lot that you can find there about your registered kids. Our public website, a lot of resources there. We're actually revamping that and trying to improve that. Hopefully over the summer, we'll get that done. AYSO National has a website, ayso.org, if you're interested in checking that out. And I mentioned the guidelines page, the schedule page, Facebook, and we periodically will tweet and Instagram, and those handles are right there. We're looking for a social media person to help. So if that's your bag, then feel free to reach out and we can talk about that. Our team website, you can do a lot of things on it. Check out your roster, team assignment, view upcoming games. Our registration, this is our registration website, and that will open online May 20th. We'll also have a May 21st in-person registration, which you'll hear more about in the next week or two. And our team website is also where our coaches communicate, send messages through our team website. And finally, our referees, they self-schedule themselves through the same team website. Public website, field status updates, field closure updates, our calendar, clinic schedule, camp schedule, guidelines. So more resources at our public website. All right, so here's where you can find us. As Derek mentioned, he's currently monitoring uniforms at AYSO300.org. We have a couple people monitoring our registration at AYSO300.org email. And you can find me for now at rc@ayso300.org. I want to thank Derek for stepping up and taking over the torch. Again, this is my 6th year, and it's great to have someone, in all seriousness, great to have someone else to do the job, to hear from as in terms of families. And Derek's, case in point of how we always are in need of the next group, next generation, next volunteer to help out. One last thing I'll just mention is we've got 4 or 5 people that signed up to do field layout training, which is a critical part of this time of year. We're measuring and marking our fields. We as an organization, as volunteers, are setting up the fields for the spring season, for every season. And we're not only doing it as volunteers, as AYSO 300 for ourselves, we're also doing it for other soccer groups, travel teams. We're doing it for the park district because the park district is able to charge everyone user fees to use the fields. And we're doing it for the middle schools. We've had middle school games out today at the fields. We prioritized the fields that we laid out and painted for this week because middle school games were starting. So I don't want to come off as braggart and toot our own horn, but we are kind of a big deal. We're large and we do a lot for the community as an organization. And so I want to welcome you all to being a part of that and encourage you to get more involved as you are comfortable doing. So with that, I'm going to just open up Q&A, obviously one at a time, but any questions? Wow, really? Okay, yes.
I have a question. This is Jeanette Douglas. You
Hi.
said, sorry, we just moved here. I'm new to this. You said registration opens May 20th. Is that registration for the fall season?
Yeah, so our soccer year, every soccer year is not the calendar year, but it starts with fall and then ends with spring. And so our primary registration window comes in May, and that's leading up to the fall season. So the way the timeline, just briefly works is our primary registration window is May 20th. We'll have an early bird registration fee that has not been set yet. We actually are going to be increasing our fees just because we haven't in a while, and we need to. We're kind of yeah, so we need to we need to cover our costs, and so May 20th is that registration will open then, continue open all the way through the summer and all the way up to August. What will change is, and this is on our website at ayso300.org/registration, at the end of June 30th will be the final day. Whatever the early bird fee is, it'll be the final day of our early bird fee. Beginning July 1st, it'll be our regular registration fee, and that will continue all the way up to August. August 1st will be our wait list period at that point for new players registered. And we'll build teams in August, July and August, for the fall season. And for those who don't know, our fall teams then carry over into the spring. And that's when we have the February wait list to try to add players to those teams.
All right, thank
Answer
you.
your question?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, thanks. Thanks for the question. Melissa made a comment. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Melissa. Thanks for joining us. Any other questions?
Hey, Drew, my name is Phil Calderon. I'm also new to AYSO.
Sure. Hi, Phil.
Those clinics that run Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday,
Yes.
those are throughout the entire season, or do they exceed into the summer too? Or
No, they're just during the times of the season. So the final week of clinics will be the week leading up to June 10th. And as I said, the first week will be next week. Thanks for mentioning the clinics because it reminded me. So the only summer opportunity will be our summer camps. We also, our United teams, they're practicing some in the summer. If and when you go to attend one of our clinics, please, there'll be a schedule for each age group and division. If your child comes, please, especially that first time, make sure that you're, with your child, because the clinics tend to be happening at some of our larger parks, so that we can run more programming. So Spring Rock Park, Gordon Park as examples. And please have your child bring with them a soccer ball, a water bottle, and please make sure that they've got their shin guards on. I recommended soccer cleats as well. Any other questions about the clinics?
thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions?
Hey, Drew, Tommy Elmore here. I have a question for the U5 and U6s.
Yes.
Are the coaches going to email the teams, or I might have missed that early on, or is it just show up for that first weekend?
Yeah, so we do want you to reach out to your team, and I can, you're one of our new coaches. So first off, thank you for taking that on.
Yeah.
And we do have some more guidance specific for you that just hasn't gone out the door yet in terms of email. So
Okay.
look for that. But yeah, so we want our head coaches, or we're looking to them to sort of put out an introductory email and introduce themselves. And we have a template actually that I can send you, and a web page dedicated to contacting your team that I can send you it will help guide you a little bit in that process.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Because I don't, and maybe you could show me
Yeah.
on a different call or something where the emails are for the team. But
Yeah.
when I saw that other email go out, I was like,
Yeah.
I think maybe I was supposed to email the team.
No,
So,
no
okay.
worries. And I mean, that's why we really appreciate you stepping up, because it's a bit of a crash course in the spring, because it just is. So well, I'll be following up with you, and we'll make sure you're on the straight and narrow. Okay.
All right. Very good. Sounds
Thank
good.
you. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. All right. So feel free to interrupt me in the next few minutes, but I'm going to call this a Zoom and wrap things up. This has been recorded, so if you want to go back and check on something, feel free. AYSO300.org/AYSO101 is the page for that. And thanks so much for joining us tonight, joining AYSO. If you're not having a good experience, your child's not having a good soccer experience, we do want to know. And we don't want to know at the end of the season. We want to know if there's something not happening or not going quite right during the season. Unfortunately, more times than not, we're finding out when it's too late. So please don't be a stranger. We want to help out, and we can't fix everything. We are volunteers, but we want your kids to have a great experience. All right. So thanks a lot. Have a great night and have a great season. Good night.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thanks, Marty.